Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So today I am going to be talking about halal investing during a recession. So there's been a lot of talk about that in the media, and signs are looking like there might be a recession coming in, and things like inflation. So the cost of things are going up. You might have noticed, cost of food and certain things like that has gone up in the supermarket. Like gas prices and energy prices have gone up massively. I know in the UK we're getting help from the government, which is like amazing. And yeah, I just noticed, like, for example, the other day I had to buy a baseball cap. I'm going on holiday, and the price of the baseball cap went up from 15 to 18 pounds. So, the cost of things are going up, which is one of the indicators of recession as well. There's like a lot of inflation, and recession isn't necessarily means, oh, yeah, this is massive. There's some big, massive kind of thing going on. There's different sort of sizes of recession. Recession generally means like where the economy is kind of shrunk a bit as opposed to kind of getting bigger year on year. So, in this episode, I am going to talk about how to halal invest during a recession. And for those that are new here, this is Simple Muslim Money, which is all about simple halal investing and personal finance for Muslims. Now, I just want to also stress that this is all my own personal opinion, it's for information and entertainment purposes. I am not a financial advisor, and I'm not allowed to give out investment and financial advice. I'm just want to kind of share my experience, and hopefully, people find that informative. And so within the news, you hear about all of this kind of recession coming and things like that. So it can be quite scary. What does that mean? And, there could be some big crash. That's what we sort of think of. But as a halal investor, we think of the long term. Recessions are something that do happen, and we want to think long term. Now, generally, with investing long term, you have these kind of recessions, which are sort of dips, but in the course of 10 years, 15 years, potentially 20 years, even longer than that, 30 years, the recession, it kind of like, you do get recessions, you get these dips, maybe for a year there might be a recession or something, but then afterwards it kind of corrects itself and sorts itself out. The trend is generally kind of going upwards. So essentially, the main advice that I give myself is just to keep calm and carry on. And that's what I've read from lots of other people. Now is not the time for me to kind of stop investing my money, because I need to keep that money investing, keep that compounding. And Warren Buffett, I know he's had this sort of quote or something that someone's heard him say or seen him do, which is buy when people are selling and sell when people are buying. So one of the worst things to do is when everyone's selling, you then go and sell your stock as well. So, that can be really bad because you're not going to get a very good price for it. And also buying when everyone else is buying. I remember when I bought Bitcoin when it was like really high and just shot up massively. And then I kind of stopped for a bit. But it's very important just to kind of keep investing, keep it going on, because I want to get that compounding going. I don't want to break it. And like another good thing to know is there's a great book by Morgan Housel, which I think I've spoken about before as well, which is called Psychology of Money. And he talks about not to break that cycle of investing and that cycle of compounding. The most important thing is to keep investing and just to leave the money in there, let it get bigger, let it kind of, generate that profit, that compounding at 6%, 7% gains year on year. I don't want to kind of break that. And another good lesson about Warren Buffett was that, when he was in 2008, there was like a really big, massive recession there. Lots of companies went bust and things like that. It was a really kind of difficult time for, a lot of people. And during that time, Warren Buffett actually bought shares in Goldman Sachs, I believe, at a big discount. And the reason was because no one was buying. Everyone's kind of being very defensive, very scared. But Warren Buffett was actually buying. So, he's kind of using his own advice. And if you look at it now, so this is 2008, 2009, we're in 2022 now. 12 years later, those shares have kind of gone up, definitely. And, he's made a massive return with that. And, for Muslims as well, we can do the same thing. We can just carry on investing. And what I talk about a lot is Islamic index funds, which is my sort of bread and butter. It's what I kind of always invest in. And, it's just, I don't think about it. I just carry on investing. I just invest it and leave it. Even if there's a recession, I try and keep that money going, keep trying investing. Even if I invest it, a little bit, but, I try not to break it. I try to keep the same amount going in every month. It's all kind of automated. And it's a bit like a captain on the ship. I believe there was a good book about this as well. I can't remember the title off the top of my head. Captain with my ship, the sea might be rough, but you just carry on, stay in the course. You keep going straight ahead. And another key thing to do, I guess, probably during a recession is that kind of makes sense, is just to keep my lifestyle the same and stable, trying not to go too crazy, too lavish, buying a really fancy car when I don't really need one, or having a massive house that I don't really need. And, there's all these costs, running costs and things like that you have to pay. When you have a car, like even if it's a nice car, you pay like a massive amount in insurance and like maintenance and upkeep and things like that. I know with our car, we've got a BMW at the moment, which is like quite old, but nevertheless, it just costs a fortune. Like it's had engine problems, servicing, like just all sorts of stuff that it does. It's just like crazy. And yeah, this kind of lifestyle, like, if my lifestyle was to keep increasing, this lifestyle and inflation, then, I'd be putting a lot of money into that rather than being able to money invest. And it's just my lifestyle is just going to cost me so much. So I want to keep the cost of my lifestyle reasonable. So it's a nice amount. And just to really highlight this, like, during a recession, it's when stocks are on sale, basically, So a company that had a stock that was worth £10 might have dropped to £5 now. So, for the same amount that you invested, you can now buy 2 shares. And in the long run, hopefully those shares will go up in value and you're able to get more. So it's really is like, during the times of recession, you can make some people do really well. They do really well with their investing. And another thing to kind of be wary of, and this was something I was very naive and didn't really know much about. So when I was watching all these TV shows about stocks and shares and things like that, and the news shows, which are just kind of trying to feed you lots of information and they're very dramatic. And I think there's a person called Kramer on MSNBC. He's like very over animated and saying, "Oh, you need to do this or buy or sell, or this stock is doing really bad." Just ignore all of that stuff. That's all kind of noise. And and just carry on investing in the index fund. Just keep it like that for years and years. That has worked. It's very simple. Investing is not complicated. It can be done very simply and perform really well and beat a lot of things out there. So, just by investing in the index fund should be the benchmark that all other investments should be measured against. If you can't beat the index fund over the long term, which most can't, then why would you invest in all these other things? So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed it, I really appreciate you liking and subscribing. And if you listen to it in podcast format, I really appreciate like a review on Apple Podcasts, because that really helps your show out and helps spread it out to a lot more people. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.